Hello and welcome to GPTV on the most delicious Tuesday, the 5th of May in the year 2020. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Pearce.
And Gary, I've introduced the show as a delicious Tuesday.
Are you
going to ask me why?
Very Bruce McAvaney of you there, Phil. Very Bruce McAvaney. Any particular reason? Because I'm not sure outside the weather, you'd say it's a delicious day.
Well, it's cold, hence my cardigan.
Yeah, very rugged up there, aren't you? And you got the tie on today.
Why is it a delicious Tuesday? You should be asking me. Go on.
Why is it a delicious Tuesday?
Because I've got some stats, Gary.
Yep.
You know that I'm an avid reader. I read lots of newspapers. I'm out there reading all the time. I love reading.
You're a reader of stats.
It nourishes the soul and increases the brain activity.
Occasionally a creator of stats.
But I have been following the whole COVID story. Let's just hope that COVID is coming towards a conclusion.
Feels like it.
But I've got some stats this morning because we know Dan Andrews regularly watches the show.
Oh, he loves it.
And I'm a little bit worried. I think that his leadership through this has been good. This is not me being political now. I'm not about to bag him or overly compliment him, but one would say that his leadership has been statuesque in many ways. But he needs to hear the facts on the ground, and the facts on the ground come from, I've been following the Age stats, Gary, and here's some stats that actually shock and amaze me.
This is a real estate show?
Because you know that I'm an anti-Trump man. I know you are a Trump and Fox News supporter.
I didn't say I'm a supporter. I didn't say that, and I didn't say I'm anti or for. I just said that I'm interested. I said, and I'm interested in watching Fox, CNN, and getting the views from both sides. I'm not going to put my political views out here like you've just done now, anti-Trump.
Anyway, the States has copped somewhat of a shellacking for its handling of the COVID crisis. Yes. But here's some stats. Now, these are Age stats. They're not Gary Pearce
as Donald Trump calls it. He calls it the China flu, the China.
It's not fake news, unless, of course, the Age is making this up. But here are the stats. The death rate, because let's be clear, you're really only worried about COVID if you don't make it out of COVID in one piece.
No one's handled COVID better, ever, in a president than Donald Trump.
Well,
he'll tell you that.
That's not true.
He'll tell you that.
Wait till you hear Australia's
stats. In America, American president's handled it better.
Wait till you hear the stats. So
Very fine
the
job.
highest death rate that I've seen is in the UK. So if you get COVID, 15.37%, Gary, of all people in the United Kingdom died from COVID.
I don't think your stats are right. Go on.
Gary, these are the Age stats. In France, if you got COVID, 14.69% of people that got COVID died. In Spain, in Italy, 13.71% died. In Spain, 11.58% died. Wait for this, the stat out of the United States. 5.85%. So,
So what you're saying is he's doing a great job.
Well, according to these stats, maybe he is. But this is where it gets really interesting, Gary.
He'll take
if you got COVID in Australia, the death rate, 1.39%. And in Victoria, Gary, the stat is a little bit less, is 1.3% of people with COVID died.
And how many people in COVID have got it? Like 4 in a million. So if you start winding down,
correct.
So then, Philip, you've gone and praised Daniel Andrews. I'm going to just take the opposite position, just for the devil's advocate.
This is not about me praising Daniel
You've
Andrews.
said he's been statuesque.
This is me
praising
shouting out
to Donald Trump.
The Victorian government. If only 1.3% in Victoria have actually died from getting
who have got it,
who've got it, absolutely, then let's get back to open for inspections and auctions.
Well, then Daniel Andrews should open things up a little bit.
Absolutely,
and he's the only premier that says that he's not opening schools and he's not open for inspections. And you can just forget about your auctions. You can save your voice, right? And that's what he's saying to us. Now, I'm not saying I'm on this side or that side. So there are those that say he's protecting us. He is the protector and the best protector in Australia. There's that view, and there's people that saying it's a nanny state. He's just being defiant against the federal directive, and look, I'd like to play golf again. That's my thing, okay? That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to just I'm going to step over the line. I can't sit on the fence because I'm getting the palings in my butt. I'm going to go over Philip and say, I'd like to play golf again, Daniel Andrews. Can you just do that for us, please?
It's fascinating, though, viewers, if you think about this, because those stats, and these, as I say, these stats have been lifted from the Age newspaper yesterday, Monday the 4th.
Well, I keep
it just really does show what an incredible job Australia has done at keeping the COVID crisis at bay. Doesn't matter that we've completely wrecked the economy, but bottom line is stats, very impressive.
Well, that's the interpretation of the stats. Others could say it's on its way through, Philip. A Worldometer says that of all of the people that have cleared cases, 18% have died, Philip. That's what it says of the cleared cases at the moment. If you go onto Worldometer or Worldometer.
I'm not sure you're reading those stats.
I'm reading very because it says finished completed cases. It was 21%, it's gone down to 18%. So as people come through, more will come through America. That stat sadly may change, Philip. But people want to watch this because it's a real estate show, Philip.
Yeah, but this, it's a segue.
Don't try to be worldly and clever because you're just a salesman. You're just a salesman. Just get over yourself.
Snake oil
you're just
salesman.
Well, I didn't say snake oil, but you're just a salesman. You're an auctioneer, damn good one. But you're just a salesperson.
It is my job to take something negative and spin it into
carried
a
away
positive.
with himself. Get some perspective, mate.
Well, anyway, let's get the auctions happening. Let's get the open for inspections happening. Let's get the coffee vans back on the road.
We want to get
the
them.
The people have spoken.
Hey, why can't we get the coffee? I mean, you can go to a cafe and get a coffee. Yeah. Why can't we get the coffee van?
I'll tell you why we have not put the coffee vans out on the road. Because if you think about it, because viewers, we love doing, we do a lot of charity with these coffee vans. We send them out to fates. All at our charge, by the way, all at our cost. We send them all over.
Schools.
We do a lot of work with these vans and the people love it. But
events.
I made the decision, Gary, I didn't consult you, but I made the decision during the heat of the COVID crisis that we were not going to put the coffee vans out on the road because I just thought to myself, you know what, because you know how they've got things called contact tracers. So once you get COVID, they have a team based out of Sydney that trace all of the people that you might have come in contact with. I would be, just imagine if we put the coffee crew out on the road, one of our coffee crew had COVID and we ended up driving these vans around Melbourne, spreading a trail like there's COVID coming out of the back,
exactly right.
and we would be responsible.
And you could just see the news just covering
helicopters
the
overhead. We are now following the Gary Peer COVID
coffee van crisis. Yeah, like O.J. Simpson, but with van. Yeah, exactly right. You just see it.
They're on the M3 now. They're heading towards Cranbourne.
Shut the gates of Cranbourne quickly. Anyway, Phil, that's what's going on.
That's why we don't have the coffee van out on the road.
I think that's a good reason, actually. I'll back you on that one.
I thought for sure that would happen.
And talking about Donald Trump, and are we making real estate great again in terms of how we're working? Because one thing I can say, Phil...
Let's get a cap. Gary Peer making
real estate great again. I think it could be the end of our business. But back to old-fashioned one-on-one meetings with buyers. I got to tell you, Phil, I'm loving that. I mean, I know that's, we're forced in that position, but... Remember when we started off in real estate? When we started off in real estate, Phil, people would come down to Ackland Street or they'd come to Caulfield and they'd say, I want to buy a house. I'd go, get in the back of the car, let's go for a drive.
You put them in the back of your car? You wouldn't let them sit in the front seat?
Well, no, I had the dog in the front seat. We couldn't both fit in there. They'd jump in the back of the car, off we went for a drive, and you know what? You'd show people, you'd talk, you'd mix with them, you'd build a relationship, you'd have a rapport. I used to like that part of real estate, and that's been stripped away with all of this now.
You used to do that, Gary, in your younger days, where you were happy.
Shoved them in the Gemini.
You were happy to be part of the populace. You were happy to communicate one-on-one, and then you became Mr. Gary Peer with all of these offices, and you disconnected, didn't you? You just you disconnected.
So insanely untrue. But I got to say,
I enjoyed that from the essence of the transaction.
The personal real estate touch, Phil, has come back, and that's a bit of a gift. Some of those, there's a gift in everything. Some of the gifts don't come well wrapped, Philip, and this is one of those one of those gifts where all of a sudden we're back one-on-one, personal business. And Philip, we built our business on boutique, personalised service, Phil, and that was the sort of thing we managed to do until we grew, and then our people, and then the whole world just changed and everything grew, and now it's back to personal, Phil.
It's lovely.
Back to hands-on. I like that.
I'm glad that you're hands-on. You're back on the tools, Gary. You're back on the tools.
But I just like that our guys are doing it as well. It's personalised and back to personal relationships.
Speaking of being back on the tools, well, what a great sales meeting we had. A Zoom sales meeting yesterday because we got this feeling that the market might be starting to come out of hibernation.
When you're seeing the 40 salespeople's faces on Boom, isn't it interesting what's going on? Isn't it interesting what's going on? Because all of a sudden you'll see something and they're gone, and it just says their name. It's one of those Zoom things, and then all of a sudden you'll see somebody just sort of start nodding off a little bit, or you'll see someone dressed strangely. There's all these funny little clues that are going on in our sales meeting, and then of course you'll have a conversation. You'll be saying something, and then two salespeople are laughing, right? And they're SMSing each other during the meeting, and I don't know what they're laughing at, but how interesting is the whole Zoom thing going on?
It is fascinating, Gary. I'm over the
it?
Zoom meeting, but I did detect somewhat of I think the ice is thawing. The bear is coming out of the
cave.
Out of the cave.
Yep.
Because last week, viewers, the week just passed, 16 sales.
That's pretty
Gary.
big, isn't it?
16 sales. I think our cheapest, our lowest prices sale. As cheap is a bad word. Our lowest priced sale was around $300,000, and our highest price sale was well in excess of $3 million. So everything in between.
Circa $3.5 million, Phil.
Are you ready to call the market back yet, Gary?
Well, what I can say is it hasn't been as affected as you may have thought. And what's been affected, viewers, and this is the crux of the meeting now, of the session.
There's something
this is
coming
important now, is the volume.
So the volume was affected.
But not price.
But not price.
Well, I wouldn't say price being unaffected. It's certainly not as many premiums, but I think it's been a volume issue. Phil.
Come on, Gary.
We haven't seen things drop.
There's no question it's a volume issue. Volume's gone backwards.
That's what it is.
You can't say that prices haven't softened.
Oh, they may have softened a little, but they haven't plummeted, Phil.
Oh, definitely haven't plummeted.
And I don't think there's been a significant change in price, particularly either. So I've got to say that I reckon, I'm not saying that real estate's going to be unscathed from all of this and it's all going to be great, things are going to go up in a minute, but they will go up again. We know that.
Well, history has proven, viewers, that these major economic episodes generally are a blip on the time horizon.
Exactly, but people just want to get on with the job and buy and move and upgrade or
We're seeing a lot of that, aren't we? We're seeing a lot of the activity is from people that just say, listen, life is finite. We can see that it's ticking away. I want to move into a new house. I want to move on with my life. So viewers, there is activity, and 16 sales last week, Gary,
pretty good, Phil. We'll
means that we can keep the doors of our illustrious business open till at least the filming of next week's edition.
Absolutely. Now, I want it's like Hey Phil.
Hey Phil.
We can put up the Hey Phil. We can put up the Hey Phil sign down the bottom, because Hey Phil, Mexican standoff. We talked a few weeks ago that it felt like a Mexican standoff where buyers weren't buying, sellers weren't selling. And Andrew, one of our viewers, Andrew, said, I'm going to tell you what because we asked. We said, does anyone know what a Mexican standoff? Well, Andrew knows. And he said a Mexican standoff, Philip, is a confrontation at which no strategy exists, which is probably how we've run our business really all these years, that allows any party to achieve victory. Any party initiating aggression might trigger their own demise, Philip. At the same time, the parties are unable to extricate themselves from the situation without suffering a loss. As a result, all participants need to maintain the strategic tension which remains unresolved until some outside event makes it possible to resolve it.
Okay, Andrew, next time you send
that's what a Mexican standoff is.
Next time you send in an explanation of something shorter, one sentence, and small
Phil can only take little sentences.
Because I'm still not sure that I know what a Mexican standoff is, but I'll read that off.
I'll
read that off air. Shout out to Ella, who sometimes watches GPTV with her father, and Ella's comment to me last week was, haven't we heard of social distancing? Because she, on her screen, did a measurement.
Come on, we did our best with Leah.
So just don't move past that. That, Ella, this is for you.
Do you know what happens when I go too far? I'll show you. Look, my arm, gone. Arm, gone. See, look, my arm, gone. Unbelievable.
That's what happens.
Phil's funny with only one arm, Phil.
We're doing. Come on. So there's a shout out to Ella. Thank you for watching GPTV with your father. It's lovely to think that we can bring families together through this show, Gary.
Hey, Phil. What about Leah Kellner? She was great, wasn't she, last week?
She came on the show.
Thanks, Leah. Got some great feedback from that. Yeah. And fantastic to have someone on the show that makes sense, actually, Phil. It's quite different, isn't it? Because I'm usually just looking at you most weeks. So to have someone making sense.
Let's talk about some of the sales that happened, Gary, because there have been some really interesting sales across the world.
Just around the corner, Albert, or in France, they call him Albert.
Yep.
Albert Street, Philip.
Come on.
Sold, Philip, with there was something like 4 bidders for that. $670,000 just around the corner.
So when you say 4 bidders, it wasn't. We didn't hold an auction,
No, we
but
didn't.
we had buyers. We went backwards and forwards. It was a negotiation prior to auction, and very successful. So 4 buyers on that, and that, Gary, was a 2-bedroom apartment.
It was, Philip. Los Angeles Court, Phil. Great address and once in a lifetime opportunity. Congratulations to the buyer there. Bought it for $2,251,500.
And Gary, 4 buyers on that as well. That was hotly contested and would have been great because I love Los Angeles Court.
Yep.
Would have been great to actually physically do an auction there because Los Angeles Court viewers, I've said this on GPTV before, if you haven't been to Los Angeles Court, drive in through Brighton Road. It is the most magic address.
6 Carween Avenue, Brighton East, Philip.
Yes, yeah, lovely story there, Gary, because Jared from our Bentley office,
Yep.
I love this story.
Marto, as his nickname is, Phil.
Jared from our Bentley office
Yep.
listed a property for sale in Hodder Street in East Brighton.
He did.
A 2-bedroom, single-storey villa.
Yes, he did.
At that auction, he met the owners of Carween who said, look, we like the way your auctions are held.
Yes.
We like the coffee van. We love that charismatic,
Can I
handsome
slip out for a coffee
auctioneer,
and come back when you finish?
that with the ginger hair. That would be me, not you, Gary. And so they decided to employ him to sell their 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-storey townhouse, to which Nikki and Lamore from our St Kilda office, who had sold a property in Glen Huntly, took the underbidder from there and sold them this property. So great, incredible cooperation from our multi-office network. Shout out to the team involved.
Philip, we don't only sell in Brighton East and Ripponlea and Caulfield North, but also, of course, we love it in Hughesdale. And we've sold Poath Road, Philip, 210 Poath Road, Hughesdale. Congratulations to Leo there on that sale. Wonderful property, Philip.
That was a beautiful
And
home. I
again,
had a look through
sold,
that
yeah.
online and I thought, what a gorgeous home.
$1,660,000. The price is disclosed, Phil.
Do you know what? I had a bit of a drive, viewers, recently around the Carnegie, Murrumbina, Hughesdale area.
That's great.
And what is happening over there is
buzzing, Phil.
unbelievable.
It
You
is
know,
buzzing.
Gary, there's wine bars, there's
Oh, yeah.
cafes.
Yep.
It's got a real vibe.
cool, Phil.
I can't believe how much it's changed over the last few years.
And as I said, I think on a show a couple of weeks ago, I walked down all the way from Caulfield area down to Oakley, Phillip, and everything that was going on down Williston Road and down Koonang Road and Murrumbina Road, it is just pumping. It's happening. There's restaurants, there's cafes.
That Sky Rail has proven to be incredibly well received.
That's another positive Daniel Andrews comment there,
Well,
Philip.
you know,
You sound like you're a very much
no,
a
no,
Daniel
Gary,
Andrews
but
lover right now.
I've got a bit
I'm
of an
not
itchy nose.
criticising you for that. Yeah, I'm saying that's okay. Just trying to work out your political persuasion.
No, but credit where credit's
due.
due.
Exactly right.
Having said that, I would have much preferred to see all the railway lines go underground.
yeah,
How
it would have
incredible
made a
that
lot
would
more
have
sense,
been.
wouldn't it?
Now, we could have
Anyway.
subdivided all of the land above it,
and we could have
made
sold
a
housing lots
fortune.
and it would have
Made
been
a fortune.
fantastic for business. Kinross Avenue, Philip, just across the road, sold for $599,000. Well done to Glenn Bricker on that one, Phil.
So that was just a snapshot of the smorgasbord of 16 properties that we sold, and that is that's a good week, viewers. That is a very good week,
Yep.
even in ebullient times, brilliant times,
Yep.
exciting times.
Yep.
16 sales, you wouldn't sneeze
We'll
at
take it.
16 sales.
You wouldn't indeed, Phil. We've got some great offerings
Sneezing
as well.
today, you just don't want to sneeze in public anymore, do you?
know,
You know,
it's
when you
really-
sneeze
I
in
know,
public
you feel
now,
guilty.
you know, it can just be a little like I've got some dust up my nose sneeze, and people are looking
I
at you
know.
like you're some
Well,
dirty, diseased
I know.
person.
I actually, you know, because I'm walking a lot now, Phil. I'm walking 15 kilometres, 20 kilometres, 12 kilometres.
Incredible. How are your hips? Don't you find it in your hips?
To get a bit of a sore hip
Yeah.
from my walk on Sunday, I should say. Yeah, a little bit of a sore hip bone from going all the way to the town, walking there and around.
So you walk from your place to the Botanic Gardens and back.
Yeah,
That's
no,
a good
it's
walk.
Not bad. So not bad.
Itchy,
Phil.
itchy nose.
You go scratching away. But you know, the other day I'm walking and I did need to sneeze on my walk, and I see people coming towards me, and of course you become very conscious. So then you start to block in you sneeze. You start to hold it, and then people look at you and think there's something wrong with you. So you've got to be careful with that whole sneezing thing, Phil, because it's very, very to sneeze today. It's like running around with an axe in your hand, isn't it? It just
really is.
Very dangerous.
Let's talk about the auctions that are coming up this weekend, Gary.
I'm going to join you.
So got the list?
No, but you have.
Okay.
Okay, we've got some coming up this weekend, Phil. We've got some good offerings.
We do, Gary.
Although the offerings are shrinking, Phil.
In no particular order.
They're selling quicker than they're being
apartment number
replaced.
6 at 203 Alma Road, St Kilda East.
yes,
This
Phil.
is a rip snorter that's being handled by John and Leon from our office. But stay tuned,
Wonderful
there,
two-bedroom
viewers.
apartment, that one, Phil.
Stay tuned because it may well be sold prior to the auction.
That's what's happening, Phil.
I know that there's some negotiations underway there. Gary, we've also got 4 at 3 Barker Street, Cheltenham coming up. Tell us about that.
2-bedroom, single-level villa, Philip, 1 of 4 only. Good opportunity, very affordable. Jump into that one if you're an investor or you want to look at something like a first home or downsize, Phil.
Moodie Street, number 2 Moodie Street, Caulfield East. That's being handled by Leor and the team from our Carnegie office.
Great looking modern property. Phil,
2-story,
well-priced, yeah.
beautiful town residence, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and 1 car space. I love that.
Did you just snort then?
No,
It sounded like a little snort.
A little bit of a snort.
do
We've
that
also
sometimes.
got 11 Amelia Street, which is the most beautiful home.
That's a great looking property, Phil.
freestanding home in Amelia Street, which most people haven't heard of Amelia Street.
No.
It's only a small street, but
a
a
little
very
one.
prestigious street. And this is the most beautiful home, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms with a double lock-up garage.
Amelia Street's just near Hawthorne Road, Philip. Not far away from.
Nowhere near Hawthorne Road, Gary. Thank you. It's near Bambra Road.
Yeah.
So it's in the,
Bambra Road's near
the
Hawthorne Road.
vicinity of Bambra Road and Glen Huntley Road, where
Yeah.
you can walk to the tram from Amelia.
I've
Also
seen it up
Fress and Delish and
Yes.
Mr Brightside,
And Turquoise
Caulfield Park
on
and
Hawthorne Road.
Princess Park. So yeah, Gary, get it right.
There's chicken, Mediterranean chicken salad, Phil, you can get now at Turquoise. I tell you what, very good.
73 Burrindi Road. Go online, have a look at the video tour that I did there, because just a bit of buyer feedback, viewer feedback, if you wouldn't mind. I did that in a sports coat and some rather nice pants, and I'm just wondering whether you like that more than the suit. So just if you wouldn't mind, go on, watch the video tour, then call me and let me know, or just focus on the property, which is the most gorgeous 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, magnificent home. And Burrindi Road, of course, is the number 1 street of Caulfield South.
I want to know what success rate you get with that, because you say to people, look, have a look at what I'm wearing and call me. How many people actually ever call you?
Gary, sometimes my phone just goes into meltdown.
Is
Sometimes
that right?
I'll come out of a meeting and there'll be like 40 missed calls from people.
Well, it must be
just
working well then.
Yeah, it
Fair
does.
enough, okay.
Speaking of beautiful properties, 159 Bambra Road. Now, viewers, this is fabulous. This is being handled by Viv Samuel from our Carnegie office.
Yes, it is.
And they sell everywhere, those boys, them girls.
But the Samuel brothers, when they come riding into town, Phil, you better look out.
4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. And I've got to tell you, I've been through this property and I think it is incredible. Love that. Speaking of incredible properties, I'm going to let you talk about it, Gary, because you've been highly involved in number 35 Burrindi Road.
Well, that's our property of the week, Philip. It's been now that was designed by Selwyn Blackstone. I don't think it was ever sold. I think it was built for these people.
Built for these
people,
one
for these
only,
owners.
one owner,
I'm pretty sure
one
it's a one
owner only home.
It's a one owner only, Philip, and it was built. It was bespoke property, built to specifications from one of the finest architects, Philip. All on one level. Of
Incredible
course,
property.
north-facing back garden. You've done a beautiful video there. I've got to say, I'll hand it to you,
have a
Phil.
look at that, watch what I was wearing, and then give me a call.
If you can get through, just leave a message. You'll have no chance because the switchboard's cluttered at the moment with people waiting to tell Philip what he's wearing. But that is a beautiful home, Philip, in a great location, north-facing at the back, of course. Beautifully floodlit, beautiful entertaining areas. We would love to get you through that. It's been quite popular too. So if you want something special, make your way over there to number 35.
That's a wrap of the properties that we've got coming up this weekend. It's also a summary of last week's sales, and I can tell you I'm feeling a little bit more pepped up than usual, Gary, because I do have a sense that there's some activity returning to the market. Dan Andrews, let's get this state opened up next week on the 11th. We're looking forward to hearing something positive about you telling the state that it's back to business. And I'd also like to just close. I've got one last thing to say, Gary. I'm watching the most delightful series, the second season to Afterlife.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais.
The Ricky
very
Gervais.
good, isn't it?
It's
how's the first episode when he goes to there's a fantastic interview.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
No, it's okay. I'm not spoiled. It's a fantastic interview with a 100-year-old woman.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
Oh,
and it's very
beautiful.
Very
beautiful.
fun.
I will say I'm loving this show because it takes you through a whole range of emotions. Feels very real, and I reckon his humour is very Australian
I think
humour.
it is Australian humour, isn't it?
But the one thing that I will say is that there is a liberal language of the street some would say, of the gutter in this show,
There
Gary.
is, Phil.
And the question
What
is...
happened with that?
Is,
You know, do you remember...
is it appropriate that the C word in this show is used like and or
Look, I
but?
mean, you know what? It's now things have changed, Phil, because remember when we grew up, well, firstly, Abigail was the first woman to go topless on Australian television.
On the box, wasn't it?
No, it was number 96.
Number
Phil.
96.
Get your shows on.
Yeah.
Number 90, and of course, that was shock horror. And of course, you know, I don't know, I was maybe 12 years old and I was definitely peeking over the couch, having a look at what was going on television in those days, because I wasn't allowed to watch number 96. The box came after that, Phil. You know, same time, but later at night.
Yes.
And of course, you couldn't say, you know, the S word, you couldn't say the F word.
Yeah.
You know, all of these things, and of course, slowly these things drip fed. You know, like...
Do you think that word that I've just kind of alluded to will ever become part of the popular vernacular? I don't think so.
I don't know.
But I must say, as I'm watching the show, and it's the most gorgeous show, and it's a show for really all ages. It's a remarkable show about the joys of life at its most basic.
And its most fragile, Phil.
And it's most fragile, but they dropped the C word like it's just...
I know, it's quite extraordinary.
And I don't mind, like I grew up on a farm, was used to being sworn at.
By your father? No, and your mother?
I've copped a lot of flack.
And your sisters?
No, they never swore at me.
That's not true. I've heard your father swear.
I swore that I would never refer to Cootamundra on the show again.
You had a beautiful...
Copped a bit of flack lately,
exactly right.
But you know, when you grow up on a farm, you do hear language. But
of course.
It was
the dogs only responded to it. I mean, the dogs. If you didn't sell the dogs, they'd give them a good, talking to. They wouldn't jump on the back of the truck and round up. I remember seeing that happen, and you weren't shy to give the dogs a bit of a spray either. And then, of course, afterwards, you gave them a beautiful, warm experience where they could eat their dinner. That was it, wasn't it?
All right, we'll go back. I think we've got our mojo back, Gary. I've been watching the last 4 episodes of GPT. They were a bit flat.
You reckon?
But I reckon,
we've been stunned,
I reckon we can feel it coming back.
We've been stunned.
So get your roller skates on. Next week's episode, we hope to have a great announcement about come to our auction. We're going to have the coffee van back.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to get donuts. I'm going to get
donuts.
I'm going to get. You know what? I'm going to get donuts if we can get the coffee.
Dinkum,
van
get Dinkum donuts.
No. I'm going to get
donuts.
jam-filled donuts.
Yep.
And the first round of auctions will let you know.
What about
but
crispy cream?
We're going to have the
Crispy
van out.
cream.
We're going to have donuts, and we're just going to celebrate life because we're all going to come out of this COVID experience loving our neighbours even more than we did. In fact, I just introduced myself to my neighbours that I've been in the same house for 17 years. I said it's time we got to know each other.
Really?
Anyway,
did they respond to you?
No.
I don't think so. My neighbours don't like me much either, I've got to say. Anyway, it's one of those things, Phil, that happens, doesn't it? That's a big wrap on GPTV on this early May edition. May is here, Philip. We can just start getting the taste and feel of those open for inspections and auctions coming back soon. In the meantime, things are still selling, so if you wanted to sell, be in touch. If you wanted to buy, be in touch. And if you want to just be entertained by something nonsensical, tune into this next week on GPTV. I'm Gary Pearce.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a fantastic week.